Thank you, Scarlett. With one eye in the chat, there was a question concerning the CARBEX concept. It is new, was the comment, and not very clear for one participant. Could you maybe summarize again, very short, the idea of the CARBEX concept?
Yeah, I can summarize this. So the CARBEX concept was how much investment was required or is required for on a building to become net zero carbon. There is some data that we collect from the CDD report, that is carbon due diligence. This report were developed considering all the alternative and all the strategies that a project need to implement to become net zero carbon, and also the cost associated to these activities. And with this information, we develop this benchmark. So at the end, this number will give the client the quantity of euros requested for a square meter to be able that need to be implemented so the building can become net zero carbon in the future. And also this is given for the first year and also second 5 years and then so on.
All right, there's a thanks a lot in the chat.
Yeah.
So I think this was very precise and
Welcome,
good.
Cecile.
Thank you. Maybe directly another connecting question. What is the inflation rate you considered to extrapolate the data in your dashboard, Scarlett?
I will, yeah. We have now this database in 2023, and we consider now, because our example are only based on German projects, we consider the inflation rate of Germany in this moment of time. The idea is that when we collect more data, we can also include the inflation rate for other countries and teach as well the logarithm to change this per year. That also can be modified. Until now, the information that we have in the dashboard is the inflation data for Germany for 2022.
Okay, perfect. Then there's the question if the sustainable asset tool is going to be incorporated into REF. Who wants?
Why not?
Kerstin or Scarlett?
We would love to. We need to. That is, yeah.
We need to think about it, and I think there will be definitely some talks about further developments of the REF and the sustainable asset tool. Yeah.
Yeah, I assume it's definitely worth discussing. We have done some discussion in this context, of course, how to link. For the time being, we have different levels of data accessibility. For example, Arcadis goes very much into have site visits and go a lot in the very detailed discussions. And with the REF tool and the market studies, we try to gather as many information as possible from the various parts of the world. I'm happy to go there and have a look at the sites, but that was not covered by the funding. And in serious, it is of course a little bit a different approach. We are not validating the data in the tool. We are of course have possibility checks, but we have to rely on the provision of the data. And it is definitely a beautiful idea to link them, but this will be an extra research project or a joint cooperation project of the two companies or organizations. Yes, thank you.
Right, and then there's another question to you, Scarlett, if this sustainable asset tool is available for a test. I think, yeah, this is possible, but not as an online version. Yeah.
No, there's an online version, but if you contact me, we can discuss this more in detail. I can show you more information. It's not public online.
Super. Maybe you could directly write your email in the chat or to the person who asked this question. That would be great.
I will do that now.
Super. And yeah, then I take some questions, or I open the general question and answer session and take some questions from the first section from you, Kerstin. There was one question concerning the issue if we try to calculate the emission for hubs that were able to provide throughput in tons by using factors per square meters. If yes, what are the results? So in kind of a verification of our calculations.
Yeah, this cross-check we haven't done so far yet. Of course, there are some different questions we can use with handling using the information from different perspectives. We will take this up definitely as a question. We haven't done so far, but we have tried to try to understand what we have presented so far and to get some other analysis which we haven't shared today, but this cross check we haven't yet done. But I think the example calculation which Andrea also presented, I think, is a very nice example that the range of the KPIs we have elaborated can be used to other to other exercises, and it is now time and reasonable to challenge the data and to test them in different contexts.
If I can add on this, Kerstin, one of the observation we got in the observatory is that we use square meters and not cubic meters for environmentally controlled hubs. But of course, we like to have all the data to do that. And why not in the future? Because of course, they're more meaningful. But, work in progress, as we said.
Perfect. And then there was one question concerning, I think, the scope of the ISO 14083. I think it fits to your part, Kerstin. Commercial vehicles in out of hubs could not be taken into consideration or should not be taken into consideration when calculating the hub's carbon footprint. What is
the scope definition by the ISO, of course, in the overall transport chain calculation, all the vehicles have to be covered, but it is relevant to not to cover them both or twice. And that's why a clear scope of the different transport chain elements have been specified in the standards and in our discussions. And we have said that any inbound or outbound vehicle is excluded from the scope of the hubs, even if these vehicles are charged or fueled at the site. You have some fuel station. We will face e-charging or charging of e-vehicles at the logistic facilities in the near future, or some of them already today. There we have the challenge, or companies may have the challenge to separate this electricity consumption and to allocate the refueling or the recharging, the charging of the vehicles to the transport mode, and have a separate calculation for all other electricity or fuel consumption for those operations happening on site. So the vehicles used on site, like shuttles from one ramp to the other or between terminals in the port area, they are covered by hubs, but also there we need to have a specific allocation rules and to take care that we don't have any neglection leaving out of emissions, and at the same time also no duplication of emissions. That is the idea of having clear scopes of the different transport chain element types, so to say.
great? Thank you. There were then another question concerning the issue what we want to achieve with our market study, with our research, but I think, Andrea, you very well summarized our overall objective, what we want to do, that we want to recommend for reducing greenhouse gas emissions in the context of logistic hubs, that we want to go for action in the industry. If there's still a question open, feel free to precise the question, or Andrea, if you want to summarize again this issue.
I mean, as we said, when we started to talk about doing something together, the reality was that, I mean, even in the Alan McKinnon book was described as a lot of gaps around the logistic hub. So personally, I'm really happy that we reached this level of data availability and KPIs. But the real task is not only literature, academic culture, and spread, but also decarbonization. So we want to help really on what is really feasible in the short term, medium term, and so on. And I think today you saw the whole process: measure, allocate, see what's biggest impact, and then work also on on the building itself, not only on what you're doing operationally. So this is a very complex topic, as Kirsty was saying very well. Apparently simple. That could be a short description of what we do and we face in a few years. And we see a lot of, let's say, more and more relevance to this topic, also from investors and companies that are managing. So they don't want to lease hubs that are not ESG compliant or ESG rated or some way of sustainable certification or attitude. This is something which is growing every year more and more, and I think that we can help a little bit when this starts.
And you've mentioned the point of the impact. Where do you think is the most efficient impact for reducing greenhouse gas emissions?
That's a simple question.
It was a question.
Yeah, the easiest,
Yeah,
of course,
maybe.
could be.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I could add on this if you
Yeah.
like. Yeah, this is very related to the discussion we had on the measures for the carbonizing logistics side. I would address that question by replying that it really depends on the type of warehouse or logistics side we are focusing on. For instance, since at Politecnico di Milano we started this research earlier, we have a longer histories in terms of history of the site and the type of interventions, type of measures implemented. And we have already started, since we have more data on that, by examining longitudinally the history of the site and the impact of the measures on that building. And it really depends if depending on the temperature of the building, the classes of measures that have been implemented on the building. So by focusing, I would say, by focusing on the specificity of the building, it would be worth understanding what are the measures that impact the most, but depending on that specific situations, because generalizing, well, we are not ready yet, okay? Because there is so much complexity behind, I would say. At least this is my view, this is my perspective. Maybe Andrea or Kerstin would like to add on that.
No, the truth is, as you said, there is a combination. So first go for energy efficiency, but everybody knows maybe warehouse and logistics site didn't care too much in the past, honestly. I thought my feeling. And then the energy crisis could help. And then, of course, the greening of the energy. So this is also an easy win, quote unquote, but I mean, energy is not for free. So it's not, as we all see in the real world, cost and CO2 have to go together, because otherwise, I mean, they're not automatically approved, also measures and so on. So this is my answer, that Sarah is totally right. I mean, each site is specific. One of the future target could be to help identify priorities for different kind of sites, correct? Also, I think Kerstin can agree on this.
Yeah, and I would like to add one other perspective. The single logistic hub may find their most efficient way and the reduction strategy for greenhouse gas emissions, but we also need to see the context of the surroundings. To what extent can a logistic hub can be used as an energy provider for? They have such a huge facade and roof, and if they are not using their own generated power, how can they supply the smaller grids in the surroundings? And to what extent can a hub support in cooperation with the clients to reduce the overall impact of the handled goods and the material streams handled at the hub? Or to what extent can a hub facilitate greenhouse gas reduction strategies of the transport, which is going in and out? One very hot topic is the provision of charging infrastructure for e-vehicles, because we have a large or a low infrastructure for e-charging facilities, and we need any hub most likely to be able to or to support the transition of electric trucks or electric vehicles in general. So I think there are also, of course, the single solution and the single perspective as an individual a hub, but also in which way can cooperative and joint activities help to change the overall performance of the sector, of an industry, of a region. They are very different different clusters, and I would say, and it's perhaps also a nice handover to Alice. That's the great thing about Alice, providing us so different possibilities to cooperate, to exchange, and to facilitate such joint projects and discussions and platforms to discuss and find solutions and pilots.
Thank you, Karstina. Thank you, the whole team behind GILA. And actually, if you go into the chat, you may get the next collaboration opportunity when you extend this to more the city hubs and smaller hubs, and then these hubs in the urban logistics. But I'm really glad of getting you in this third year and having organized this session together with you, particularly as I learned from Andrea that the seed of this GILA project came in an Alice meeting, so that makes me even more proud of the project. But particularly, congratulations of what you have achieved. Happy to see that next year we'll have mainly this time in the year the next round, and we continue growing the community and hopefully also supporting you to move up in the number of terminals. So then on my side, just to thank you all for the extraordinary presentation, and looking forward to keeping supporting you all on this. Thank you.